and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.
Mask is probably like it's a really funny painting to me because it's definitely the one that resonates with the most people. I kind of painted it on a whim during like a certain time of my life, and I didn't really put that much um I didn't think that it would affect so many people. I've had people like reach out to me and say things like that's the only piece of art they've ever seen in their life that they've felt connected to. I've had people who interpret it like so many different ways. So, I mean, that part of it is really cool. Um, it's comes from a story my brother told me actually. My brother was kind of, he taught me a lot of things like Terence McKenna, like, a lot of these kind of open my mind in that kind of way. And that was actually from an experience that he had, that he told me about, where he ripped off the mask and was stepping outside of this projection of ourselves, this projection of the world that we're creating. And I was really focused at the time on this machine of perception that we have, how we are both in the world and we're creating it at the same time. And we're like all an individual projector. But the feeling I wanted to get through with that painting is kind of the fear of being without that. So when you take the mask off, what is left is this amorphous, nebulous, like ether space. It's like infinite potential, but it's also empty. Um, and I think that is what reality is a lot of the time. Um, but I think that that's quite frightening and maybe also boring. And so we make the universe happen because this universe that is we're experiencing is way more interesting and we get to like connect you and me and like that's more interesting than just being in this like nothing space. But I think ultimately we'll return there again and it's like a cycle.
Right. We're just kind of like bored infinite abysses and creating this reality to experience the highs and lows of life, right?
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it for sure. And we can really like some highs and we really like some lows. It seems like.
Yeah, I love surfing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been really thinking about the like swimming metaphor lately. Just like kind of because sometimes I feel like I'm surfing and other times I feel like I'm just like doggy paddling to get through and like but also at the same time surfing's like or swimming is my favorite thing to do in the world. So like I don't know, it's just really thinking about what a joy it is to like get to like swim through life. And like even though sometimes it feels like I'm gonna drown, other times it feels like I'm just like floating there and like yeah, that's what we're doing, I guess. Surfing, swimming, and painting. And but yeah, so the mask is a cool painting. I really appreciate everyone's support for it. I've thought about kind of continuing it in a cycle, like in a series, but not really sure where to take it.
Yeah, your work always stands out to me just like how vibrant it is and how saturated with color it is. And it's something I struggle with. I have a lot of saturation in my paintings, but you do it very well. And yeah, it stands out to me as fun and vibrant and yeah, from a good place.
Thank you. Yeah, I really I don't know how to tone it down to be honest, because I just really love rainbows and color. So um, and I feel like on psychedelics or like when I'm in a really good mood, like everything seems more colorful. I don't know if you get that. Like, or if I'm really dark, like if I'm depressed, like everything's kind of gray. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes I like make that dark painting, um, but I like it's more fun to make a light, colorful painting.
And do you find you can like go back and forth? So like if you are in a darker mood, can you paint light and transform that color
Mm,
on you?
it depends. That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I feel like lately, like a week or two ago, I had some real. I feel like everyone. It's just like weird times. Everything's like just seemed dark. Everyone I talked to seemed like they were like kind of scared. Um, and I felt like I couldn't paint. I had to paint something, but I had to paint something like pretty dark, and even like try to make it funny. Like I painted a one of those cats. It's like hang in there, but it's like crying and it's like hanging above flames. Um, because like it's like dark, but it's also like I'm trying to like make. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I can paint something else. I kind of have to like transmute it a little bit, but yeah, but it's hard because you don't want to put. I have to get it out, but I don't want to put that out in the universe so much. But I also don't want to spiritually bypass and only paint things that are sunshine and roses. I'll paint a painting that's literally just sunshine and roses, and then the next one will be like a woman crying with like the universe exploding behind her. Like, I mean, I want to have. Do like Mark Henson? Like he's like the master of this. In one painting, he'll have the most beautiful vision for the future, like how it could be, flowers, like love making. And on the other side, it'll be like starving, and like somehow it's so balanced. And I really admire that.
Mm-hmm. To do it in the same piece of work like he does too is pretty brilliant, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, I know he's cool. Um, and yeah, I feel lucky too. Like, you were asking before we started, like where I live. And right now, like I said, I'm living in San Francisco, and San Francisco right now is really crazy, but there's such a history of cool psychedelic visionary artists from California and from here. And like I was looking at my a poster that my dad had that I've probably seen since I was a little kid. And I was just looking at it a couple weeks ago and I realized, wait a minute, that's like a Mark Henson painting that I've never connected before. It was just like a poster my dad had that I never really looked at. So it's like funny how those influences, I probably saw that when I was like 6 years old and subconsciously inspired.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark Henson's a great one. I've been going through my space lately. Me and my mom are moving, and so kind of clearing out all the art cupboards and all the under desks of prints that I've bought over years. And I'm a maniac. I have an addiction to buying art. Like I don't know where I thought I would ever hang this much art. And so I just got a ton. So I'm trying to get rid of it to some friends and things, but I found two of the coolest prints. I found the Jonathan Salter and Blake Foster collabs that they did. I think one was with Vaja, but yeah, just incredible pieces. Like
Yeah, I know
I
what you
love
mean.
art.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I started getting into it because I just love looking at it. I want to look at it as much as I can all day. And I have the same thing. I buy art from other artists, and then I think, but like, kind of want to hang my own paintings up more so. So, um, but I try to find spaces to share. Like, I don't know, just to celebrate. Just art is so magical. Like, I don't know what is it about art that what is it about art that you like? Like, why do you feel connected to it? Do you know?
I have just always loved it. Like I pulled out this watercolor. It was the first one I bought, and the artist is Al Rounds. He did this cool watercolor of a Utah landscape, and he wrote on it "Work hard," and it was in 1990. So I was like 9 or 10 when I first bought my first piece of art, and I don't know. I love it, and I became an artist later in life. So and I just love to collect it. Yeah, I love it. It's cool. It makes my space cool. I like it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't need much more than that. Like, it's just cool. Yeah.
Well, that was
Yeah.
a pretty good segue. So why don't you tell me who you are and how you got into this art thing and how long you been doing it?
Yeah, so well, to start, my name is Rozzi, and I'm a painter from San Francisco, and I live here currently, even though I've kind of traveled around. And yeah, so I've always been an artist, I think. I've always loved drawing. I feel that I have an infinite imagination. Like I can come up with way more ideas than I'll ever be able to paint. And I think as a kid, um, I broke my arm for one summer, and so what I did that whole summer was just draw. It was my left arm, so I could just sit at the table with my cast and just draw. And I just remember going to the dinner, at restaurants and drawing. So I've always loved it. And I think and I always did it in school, in high school, I would avoid all my other classes. I took somehow 3 hours of my day were in the art room because I just would avoid going to other classes and I would just go hang out in the art room. And I think it wasn't until I went to bicycle day in maybe 2013, 2014, something like that. I went to a bicycle day in San Francisco where Alex and Allison Gray were painting. And I'd heard of them before from Tool, and I had seen Spangle once, and I saw them and I saw Talopa, who's from Santa Cruz, live painting. And it kind of blew my mind because all of a sudden I was at this party with all these really, really cool people that I didn't even know it was still possible to be this cool. I thought that was a thing from, I don't know, a bygone era. And they were painting and there was a gallery and there was a space for artists. It didn't feel like some hierarchy where you're in a big gallery or you're in a museum or you're a hobbyist. It felt like there was a between space where you could be a working artist. And that really inspired me. So I think I made my first real painting that I would consider, um, that I still I mean, my first serious piece was probably 2017, right around the time I met you for the first time. And yeah, I've just been trying to keep it going ever since. And I feel that the more I make art, the more art gives me, the more I get to meet really interesting people. I get to just opportunities. I find myself in really interesting places I wouldn't have without the art. So I'm really grateful for it. And yeah.
That's amazing to get introduced to Spangle in 2013 too. Yeah, you're ahead of the curve for sure.
Yeah, I had some cool friends for sure that I'm grateful for as well. You know, and they brought me around. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's crazy. And now I love it.
Well, and Alex and Allison seem to be one of the biggest gateway drugs into doing art. They were my introduction into art. I just wanted to go and hang with them, and at the Eclipse Festival, and I didn't paint before that, and then I went there and I learned how to paint. Yeah, so when I first met you, I hadn't been painting more than a few months.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was a potent eclipse. I think that changed a lot of people's lives.
Very potent, right?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I really want to go to. It'd be a dream to go to. I mean, I'll definitely go to Cosm someday, but it would be a dream to go there for a painting retreat or something like that. Um, I kind of haven't had my ducks in a row to apply or anything like that, but yeah, I've met them a few times just at festivals here and there, and they're super inspiring. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I actually I found the first time I ever saw their art was I found at the thrift store a Tool CD. The one I think it's Lateralis with it has multiple clear covers and they're kind of all the layers of the person. And I didn't even know who Tool was. I threw away the CD and I was like, this is the coolest cover I've ever seen. I just had it on my wall. And then later connected the pieces and got into Tool and everything. But yeah, just it stands out, doesn't it? It's really, really unique.
I just am struck too by Alex. Every time I've ever seen him, at the Eclipse Festival, I've seen him at Bicycle Day, and I forget where else, but I guess on Vision Train. But he's just one of those dudes who pulls out a sketching pad and sketching, and he's not paying anyone else any business. He's in his creativity, and that's the boss. Like, no one else is ruling over him besides making.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw him give a talk at Burning Man when first year I went, which was 2018, I think. And it was a real small little group. There was only maybe like, I don't know, a dozen of us or something, and he kind of gave a little talk, and then afterwards we had a question and answer, and I asked him, I was like, Alex, how do you like go so deep and then like bring the images back with you? Like I was like trying to understand like what process could you possibly use to like capture these like transcendent moments. And he was just like, I always bring a sketchbook. Like it was like so simple. And he was like looking at me like, I just draw it. Like I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So
That is one thing I had a great visionary experience not too long ago, and just saw this thing that wanted to be painted. I saw this beautiful instance, and it was like a watermelon cube with like light emitting from the slices of it. But I started to paint it, and I'm just like not doing it justice, and so like, how do you like see this thing that you're gonna paint, and then like, I guess just work through it to make it that, or let it just shift and adjust and become what it is? Because it's hard to replicate those visions.
yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think if a little bit of all of your answers. So some of it is trying different things out, doing different thumbnails, doing different versions of the same idea and trying to see like which one really resonates. And then often like the painting completely changes and then something else that I wasn't anticipating comes out and that other thing might even be my favorite part. Um, and then I've found for me, like lately, this is something I got from Gabriel Welsh. I'm just gonna list all my favorite artists today. Gabriel Welsh is like so great, and I took a course with him in Santa Cruz recently, and he's so fast. And like you said with like Alex Gray too, like there's nothing in between him and creating. It's just that flow. So I feel like a little bit like stepping out of your own way and just like instead of trying to think of like what does this look like and planning it out, just put it on the page, because I think our mind actually knows what it looks like and what it's supposed to look like, and we just kind of have to kind of quickly get it out and like almost like the more intuitive it is, the more accurate it'll be.
Right. I totally agree, but I do see it that like he's a true, like that guy's a master. I interviewed Artful on here,
Yeah,
and he spoke very highly of Gabriel, and just talked about his work ethic. And I've been noticing it on Instagram too. Like he's working through series of similar concepts and ideas and palettes, and he's like really pushing through it. Um,
yeah,
I hope to get to interview him one day. Pretty amazing. But like, you have to develop that. He's got that mastery with his craft,
for sure.
that it's easier to kind of get into that state of just knowing.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean because it's not that he just magically knows. I mean, maybe part of it is that, but he has the experience of having painted things. Um, and like that experience is like built in muscle memory, right? So I guess the other element of it is, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, I guess, like you said, like a cube made out of watermelon, right? So in my
Hmm.
mind, thinking I would maybe get some references of like a cube and like references of a watermelon and like I don't know, put those together. I'm trying to get better about this myself because I tend to want to go like just put what I'm thinking on the canvas, but then I don't have an intuitive knowledge of like perfect proportions of the human body and things like that. So sometimes it comes out more cartoony than I wanted it because I didn't slow down and like so it's kind of the opposite of what I said too. It's like I don't, I'm not at a level of mastery at all where I can tell anyone how to do it. I don't think, it's just, I'm just enjoying doing it. But yeah, that's what I would say is just keep doing it till it looks right. Maybe look at references. Um, it sounds delicious though.
It was delicious. It was a good gift. Yeah, like. How do you usually get the vision for your painting, or the vision that you want it to come through originally?
Hmm.
And does it usually start with a preconceived vision or a notion of where you're going with it, or do you sometimes just start and let it become as it becomes?
It it usually starts with a preconceived notion for me. Um, I think the way it tends to work for me is that I'll have an idea of something, like a I want to paint this like mythical creature from that I saw somewhere, or I had like a vision of it maybe when I'm sketching, or like I'll have a base idea for a painting, like a little nugget, and I'll have like three or four other little nuggets. I have like a lot of nuggets going on in my head all the time. And then at one point I'll just be like kind of walking down the street and I'll realize all of a sudden all those nuggets like could be one painting. And if I like layer all those elements together, then that's like enough of an image for me to like go ahead and like start putting it together. So yeah, I draw inspiration from a lot of different stuff. Sometimes it's like vision, psychedelic journey. Sometimes it's something I saw when I was, a lot of times it's like synchronicities. So I'll see something over and over and over again, and it'll just be like kind of rattling around in my mind. And I don't know why I'm so intrigued by that image, but it's a good clue that I should try to experience it through painting. Um, and yeah, I do like to do more intuitive, just like flow abstracty paintings, but I almost immediately want them to coalesce into something. I really like painting, like you said, Artful Maurice, like you interviewed him. Like his style is so like explosion-y and it's so amazing. I have no idea how like I could do that, but I would want to. I don't know. I just love painting like things, So I really admire like abstract painters, but
How
coming
many
at it.
paintings do you have in progress at a current time?
It's a good question. I'll usually have like anywhere from like 3 to 7, but then I'll tap into one and that'll be like the main painting I'm working on for a while, and I'll either finish that and then move on to another one, or I'll get it like 90% of the way and then I'll like leave it for a while. I kind of As long as I'm working on something, and then I'm satisfied.
Let's talk a little bit about your habits as far as like, is it a daily approach to painting, specific time, like when it happens, when it's in the flow? Yeah, what habits do you behind doing your art?
Yeah, so I have a day job right now, which is really nice. I work at an orchid nursery. So I work my day job where I like tend to flowers all day. And then I come home and I have a really nice studio space here at my house. And it's like so cozy and like lovely in there. So I kind of close the door, I go in there, and then I have my painting time, which is pretty solid for like, maybe 4 hours every night I have free to paint. And then I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if unless I get distracted by some other event or hanging out with people, then that's kind of my main job on those days. But really, I think I do my most productive painting at festivals. That's why I really love live painting. I'll put in a solid, 8 hours standing there working on a painting easily, like uh, just because something about the energy of everyone being around and I'm getting all this creative inspiration. So that's where I do like the most solid, deep work, I think, is at festivals. It's a really good place to start a painting too. 'Cause there's a lot of, like I said, inspiration dancing around you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure. What festival did you do this year?
Let's see. Good question. What did I do? I It's kind of slipping my mind actually. Um, Shoot. Okay, so this year I can't even think of one, but I know I did a bunch. I did Still Dream and I
Still
did
dream?
Northern Nights
Hmm.
and I did some like local events here in the city, like one night kind of you know, paint paint at shows, things. I did that a few times. And yeah, I feel like there's a few more in there, but honestly, I can't remember. This whole summer has been kind of a whirlwind.
I feel you. What is like, painting in the live environment of a festival? There's no fence between you and everyone else, like you can just uh what's a story that you've had while painting that has been a magnificent experience for you?
Wow. There's been so many great ones. Like, it's so cool because normally as a painter, you're kind of isolated in your studio. So it's really cool painting and hearing the reactions and having people come up to you. And maybe they'll come up to you over a few days and like see how it progresses. And and sometimes people will come and they'll kind of like talk to me and something about the painting resonates like deeply with their life and like what they're going through right now. And then that'll give me insight into like where I should take the painting. So it has like a much more like two-way communication versus just me like putting this out. And I feel, yeah, I'm trying to think of like a really, I had a, this last summer, I painted a painting at a festival, uh, and this guy was kind of there the whole time, like the whole festival, he kept coming back and coming back. And he was like really intrigued and kept making like suggestions, which sometimes can be a little hit or miss. Like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And then, but his suggestions just seemed really spot on. Like, I felt like he really understood the painting. Um, and, and yeah, and it was just like really, if you both connect over the same piece of art, you're likely going to have things in common and you're going to be already kind of on the same vibration, I feel. So even though totally different people can like look at one piece of art and love it, like there's something in common there. And so, yeah, just that kind of connection. And then at the end of the festival, he ended up buying the painting, and it was like really cool because it was like I felt like I just made it for him. Like he was like,
Right. So how much did he get to collaborate on it? How much did his ideas infiltrate you for the final piece?
hmm, probably like, I mean, honestly, maybe only like 20%, but like that's pretty good. Like, I kind of came with an idea of what I wanted to do, like the feeling I wanted. And it was more like the extra little touches, that kind of little filler things that come in that changed. Um, I just was thinking about this. Another painting experience at a festival that was really meaningful to me was last year. I was painting this big painting called The Grave, which has like a skeleton kind of sitting in the corner, and then there's like this net of tombstones behind, and then there's a tombstone in the center that's like a portal. And so it was really like kind of a heavy painting because it's about dying, and it sometimes people at music festivals don't want to be reminded of the fact that they're gonna die. Um, so it felt a little heavy, but I also felt that like everybody was really really like open to receiving that. And like I said, I don't want to shy away from the darkness, and I feel like that's like a really beautiful aspect of our life is the fact that it ends and like it makes every moment all the more precious. So it just felt really right to like remind people of that in that moment and like to hear like their process of like looking at this painting and being like, wow, hey, like, you know, um, yeah, that's gonna happen. And like, we don't know what it is or what it means or where we're gonna go or where that portal leads, but it's like a shared experience. And so I was really happy to be able to bring that experience to people when they're really like open at a festival, you know?
Well, and also like the way you paint is just vibrant, and so I know what painting you're talking about, and it's not like those dreary vibes of the death. There's more hope and wonder in it. So
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, even like in my scariest visions that I've had, on like, I don't know, in ceremonies or something like that, like it's always been psychedelically colorful, even if it's like, no, like turn it down, it's so bright. It's always like that. I, you know, I think probably when you come out of the womb, it's probably like really bright, and maybe when you die too. You know?
my sister just had her first child like 2 months ago, and he was over here hanging out, and I was just watching his eyes, like he had just so much life in him, and just that fresh consciousness of not knowing what's going on and just being like amazed. You just see it in their eyes, and yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, congratulations on being an uncle too. And
Thank
like,
you.
it's just, yeah, it's special. I feel like we don't get to be around babies enough. Like
Hmm.
if you're in a village, there'd always be like little babies around, but if you don't have kids or you're not really around them anymore, but like, I never hang out with kids.
They're
And
kind of like a battery charger for me. And like, the first day I saw my nephew, I was just like charged up and like, okay, let's go. Nothing is gonna hold me down anymore. We got work to do.
yeah, I love that. That's so sweet. Yeah, battery chargers are important. I just came back from Burning Man and I felt like that was a crazy battery charger. I haven't, not to be one of those annoying people that talks about Burning Man all the time, but like this is only I went in 2018 and then I went this year and like it blew my mind how like charged up I felt and just how inspired and like I mean it's like a month later and I'm still like feel really good from going. So I highly recommend it. And there was babies there. There was a baby born this year.
I saw that. I've worked on a few clients. I do massage, and a few of my clients just got back from Burning Man, and they were pretty stoked on it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good one. Would you ever go, do you think?
I would love to go, but I just have not had my stuff together, and have had other things more prioritized than getting there. But
Yeah, same.
I'd love to go there one day. Yeah.
Yeah, you totally can.
I mean,
It's
Oregon Eclipse was kind of that's the only really big festival I've been to that would be close to that, but it's totally different than Burn. But
mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't go to Oregon Eclipse, but I heard so much about it. But I went to the Texas Eclipse and
I heard a lot about that.
yeah, I don't even really want to get into it. But I made a really cool painting. But the other parts where it happened also.
What did that one get rained out like the last 2 days or the last day even or?
Yeah, it got rained out after, but they canceled it before. But just in general, I felt like sometimes certain festivals, from what I've heard, like the first eclipse was like really magical portal. I mean, I wasn't there. I saw the eclipse, but I went to Idaho instead of Oregon. And but sometimes I think people want to commercialize like what should be like a magical thing, which is people getting together, making art, dancing, listening to like their favorite music, connecting in community, taking, mind expanding substances maybe, or just like doing yoga, like these kind of things that I feel really like we should hold kind of sacred. And then so obviously sometimes people want to capitalize that on that and turn it into like a money grab. And not to say like, you know, necessarily it was like that for everybody, but that's kind of what it seemed like to me at the end of
Hmm.
the clips. But but whereas like Burning Man, it's extremely you need a lot of money to go unless you get like a cheaper ticket or someone buys you one and stuff like that. But once you're there, there's like none of that commercialization, and so it feels kind of the opposite of that, where it's like you're just there on the earth with other human beings and like whatever you want to do goes pretty much. And I feel, yeah, it was really inspiring because I want more of our society to be like that, where we're free to dance and make weird art and be together and share and just like be accepting of people for how weird they are. Like it's just like, yeah, I want more of that in our world, I think.
So just my friend introduced me to her two friends. She paid for their massages to come and see me, and so I did an out call and went and did it for this couple, Kat and Dom,
Hmm.
and they told so Dom has like one of those like parachutes with like a motor on it that's like an airplane, and so he takes that to Burning Man and he gives it as rides to people as gifts.
What? I've never even heard of that. That sounds crazy.
It sounds amazing, right?
Yeah,
Like there are some good people out there in the world, so.
yeah, definitely. And yeah. And I mean, like any big gathering of people, there's going to be weirdos, but I think it's like a really, I heard one person say it's like a high concentration of magic. And I think that's really true. Whatever magic is to you, I think could be found in the desert. Or-
Do you have anything coming up, like live events or shows that you're going to be painting at, or kind of resetting for next year?
Yeah, I have one. I don't know when this will come out, but I have one this weekend. It's called the River Rendezvous, and it's a really small festival. I think it's maybe like 200 people. And it's in Lotus, California. So I'm gonna be live painting there, and it's on a river, which is pretty cool because it's like they have river rafting, and it'll be like the last, like we were talking about swimming. It's gonna be like the last swim of the year, I think. And then after that, yeah, it's kind of just I might do some local events here in San Francisco, but other than that, I'm looking forward to kind of nestling in and getting some like good work on paintings done. Like
Hmm.
I said, I have a ton in progress right now, so I really want to finish some of those and kind of come out with a wave of finished paintings.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, and then maybe try to do a little tour next year.
Fun.
Yeah.
What would be on your target there?
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably try to go to some festivals, like for sure, but I really want to go to some states I've never been to. I want to go to Wyoming. I want to go to Colorado. And yeah, kind of do that. Like I've done the South a lot, like go down to Arizona, but I've never really done the upper. I mean, like I said, I went to Idaho once for the eclipse, and it was incredibly beautiful. So kind of want to do like a road trip around those places. And I don't intend on living in San Francisco forever, so trying to figure out where my next location will be. Um, so yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome. What books are you currently reading?
Oh wow, that's a good question too. I'm reading The Golem, which is
Gollum.
yeah, it's like this. It's a really interesting book. My dad gave it to me. He said it was going to be really scary, but I find it more psychological and intriguing. It's about a man in like the Jewish quarter, and I guess a golem is like an ancient Jewish like demon. It's basically like this rabbi makes a man because they're not allowed to work on Saturday, right? Like Jews. And so he makes like a Frankenstein type like artificial man that can do work for him on Saturday because he's not allowed to. But he has to, I might be getting the story slightly wrong, but like he has to like turn him off basically by like removing the spell that makes him work, but he forgets to do that. And so like this creature runs amok. But the book is actually about a man turning into that mythical creature. It's kind of a metaphor for him like losing himself and kind of being, I don't know, it's just really interesting book. I love books that are like kind of one man goes crazy and like what happens in his mind. And like it's interesting seeing things happen to him that he's interpreting as like divine acts because I don't know, I feel like it's kind of how my brain works too. So yeah, that's what I've been reading.
When was that book written?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's pretty old. It's like I want to say like 1910, maybe. I've been kind of going back to the classics lately. Um, Another one I read recently that's really, really good, highly recommend to like absolutely anyone, is The Master and Margarita. And that's about this. I've been on a devil kick lately. So I read Faust, which is like the man makes a deal with the devil to like make him live forever. And then I read The Master and Margarita, which is about the devil comes to town. He comes to this like Russian city and just kind of creates like mayhem, and like just ruins all these people's lives, and then kind of just like slips away and everyone's like, what just happened? And yeah, I don't know, just the devil coming to town has been a common topic lately. You know.
I'd say it's been coming up on a lot of people's minds lately in this world we're living in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, luckily, I know, I think there's a lesson in it too, because the devil, it's also interesting because he seems so destructive in these books, but there's often a character who is able to stay, like to even like work with the devil and like see him, almost like see him as a person and be like, look, I'm not going to do anything bad. You know, I know you're just causing chaos, and it's the people that give into temptation that end up, not to get like, I don't know, weird about it, but that end up with their lives destroyed. And like usually if you believe in true love, or if you there's like a way, like there's like a path to being safe even through that encounter. So it's almost like the devil isn't even like a bad guy. He's just like, I don't know, he's just like the embodiment of what was already wrong with these people. Like he just brings it out of them, you know?
He's there to poke you and when you get knocked off your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know who the demiurge is? Or like, do you know
No.
about like Gnosticism? It's the demiurge is like in Gnostic belief. He's like the god that created the world we live in. It kind of connects to the mask. So basically the demiurge is like a god, but he's not like the all-powerful god. He has like blind spots and weaknesses and emotions. And so he wanted to be like God. So he created the world, and that's where we actually live. So if it wasn't for that world, we'd be living in that like unity consciousness. Um, but because the demiurge created this thing, we're like trapped in it. We're trapped in his vision. That's what like Gnostics believe. And I think that's been coming up a lot for people lately because it's very similar to simulation theory, right? It's like we're not living in reality, we're living in like a simulated reality. And so if that's the case, like who's the one creating it? Um, and that could just be as simple as like someone telling you a story of how the world works and you believe that story, like propaganda, or even like your parents or something. But it could also be like much greater and be like, we're not, I don't know. There's just so many stories that we believe. Um, and I think those kind of ideas are just like, it's just a little reminder like, hey, like life could be different than the way it seems. Um, so yeah.
Definitely feels like we're living in some sort of movie where acts are being placed that we have no control over, even with thoughts and feelings. Like there's a narrative that's being played out, and we just kind of get to react, and we get to choose how we react to it. But there's not a whole lot of stopping it. Like the play is going on here.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like it, but it's gonna continue. It seems to be continuing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely just happening, right? Like, and I don't buy into the whole, like, I don't feel like I'm creating everything. I feel like if, that's kind of like solipsism, like you're like one person, like that's like saying like, I don't know if you really exist, Canon. Like, I think you exist. I think we're all kind of co-creating this world, but it's definitely just happening. And I feel, yeah, I don't know, like, I guess I feel like if all this craziness is happening and I'm just a part of the world, like I want to try to live my life the way I want to live it as much as I can, and like if we're all doing it, then like I have just as much power to make the world how I want it to be. So I try to like that's like the ultimate balance in life, right? Is like accepting what you can't change and then like changing what you can't accept. And
And like I feel like I get overwhelmed with just the craziness of the world and how I can make any difference, but I can only make a difference in my world by doing my painting, taking care of my mom, and making art, and yeah, doing the things that I feel are important to me. But I've also seen that too as a little bit of like, you know, I guess it works out in the end. But if like you're just in your studio, life is good, and you just don't listen to Twitter or put on any outside influence, like yeah, the world's pretty awesome. But at the same time, Rome is burning, and it is most certainly burning. But yeah, I guess it's kind of that balance of like, how do you? Maybe it doesn't need to be a balance. Maybe you just forget Rome. I'm doing some self therapy here.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm so right there with you on that. Like, yeah, and a part of me wonders if that's like by design. I feel like my voice doesn't really matter in terms of like changing the way our society is run. It's not like I can vote and then all of a sudden someone I like is in charge because that's not an option. Even no one I like is even an option to vote for, right? So on one hand, I feel like, well, I don't have any power there, so I'm not going to put my energy in that direction. But on the other hand, you're right. I don't want to be blind to it. Like there's people really, really, really hurting right now. And I don't want to just like ignore that. Um, so yeah, I don't have any answers to that one other than like I try to not turn away from it, but I also try not to be like obsessed with it, you know. And like if I'm really like miserable all the time, then I'm not gonna help anybody. So like if I try to if I see something really horrible online, like try to like sit with it and think about it as much as I can and then, put it away if I can. It's really hard. And then like, I don't know, make dinner for my dad or something, you know, something good. And then yeah, when I actually look around my daily life, it's pretty good, you know. If I don't listen to people telling me it's bad, then it's actually pretty great. And yeah. Yeah, no, it's a weird time. But it's probably, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any answers. Do you think it's weirder now or do you think it's always been weird?
I think it's way stranger right now than it's ever been. Like when I was growing up in high school and junior high, I don't remember the world being like that. And it could just be my ignorance to the world,
Mm.
and I see that the corruption has been going on for a long, long time too, and we're becoming more aware of it. But it seems like the simulation broke down for me a while ago, and I'm just seeing things very differently and yeah, dealing with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think I feel like in terms of seeing the man behind the curtain, like I think maybe just from where I was raised or the time period, I'm like, a bit younger than you. I was born in 94. So I was like just coming into consciousness with like the year 2000 and then like 9/11 and stuff. So like kind of my first thoughts of like how society and like right away it was like, oh, that was planned. Like I heard the conspiracy somehow like right away. So, like, that was kind of baked in, like, I just assumed, like, okay, like, it's corrupt from the top down all the way through, so I never, in that way, really had any like, that structure's already fallen, but I guess the new things, like, with AI and everything, I find it sometimes frightening, but I find it more interesting than anything. It really taps into everything, like, Terrence McKenna ever said about, like, this point at the end of history that I do feel like we could be going right into. This like ability to like instantly create anything. Like that seemed absolutely impossible when I was a kid, and that seems likely, if not for sure, gonna happen. now. And like, I mean, I see you like play around with it, and it's like, it's how is that not going to change our whole world? And I think it's cool as long as we all don't like starve to death in the meantime.
I
Yeah.
mean, I see that point. Like it's crazy how far the AI video has come in the last 2 years. From being this very rudimentary, very cool stylistic thing to now where it can just create anything and pretty good quality too. And yeah, it's interesting being an artist who loves it and loves playing with it, but also sees that like, yeah, we'll be replaced.
Yeah. I
And I
guess,
just don't trust the people at the top. Like, really, that's what it's at. Like, if we have these things that can create wealth and abundance for all of us, then let's all do art and just, yeah, take care of ourselves and take care of our land and things. But I don't trust the people at the top.
no. Yeah. But also, I think maybe less and less people are trusting the people at the top. And I think they probably shouldn't have been trusting the people at the top for a while. And so maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, tear it all down because, like I said, I want us to all survive. Um, but I think there will probably be some pretty major changes in our life, you know, and that going back to the Terrence McKenna thing, like, this point at if we are going to go through some kind of transition as humans, it's not going to be comfortable. Like no birth is comfortable. We're going to get squished and changed. And I just hope that we maintain our humanity through it. And I think we will, because I think that's like what makes us special. So if we lose our creativity, if we lose our humanity, then we didn't make it through, because that's like what humans are to me. And so yeah, I think it could be really cool. Like, I feel like I don't know, I spend a lot of my life being like, like, my life is so crazy right now. I wish it was different. And then I look back and I'm like, wait, actually, that was like really awesome the whole time. And like, I hope somehow like we can look at that in the future and be like, remember when we lived through those crazy times? I, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen really? But I
It
think it's cool.
seems like
You know? Sorry, go
I was
on.
I just wanted to say like I feel like you've really just got like your screws tightened up in your head and you're like your brain is working really good and you come across as this very calm like knowledgeable person. And so I'm just kind of curious about what practices have led you to develop that kind of calmness within you. Do you have like a meditation practice? And you mentioned sitting with ceremony. Like what work have you done to kind of get to this point where you are at right now?
Thank you for saying that. It's funny because I feel not like that at all, but you know, and then also like you always really nice to talk to, so I feel relaxed in this conversation, which is good. Yeah, I have done some work in that way because I feel this like internal turmoil, which I think we probably all do. So I really like sought out different things, and I try to internalize it. So like Ram Dass, I was really, really into Ram Dass for a while. I have like a painting of him on my altar, and I felt like his view of the world really inspired me and like gave me a sense of like how to exist in the world and like be good. I think it's important to me to try to be good and like, take care of our families and be honest and do our best. And then yeah, and like I went to down to Peru for a while, and while I was there I did do like an ayahuasca like retreat. It was like 9 days. And then I've just done other things like I did like wachuma, I did like, mushrooms were like in my life for a long time. And I felt like each one of those really helped me process like a lot of childhood things, a lot of it's like incredibly fearful and shy as a child, and I'm still like can be quite shy, but it's so much better now because I pushed myself to scary places. It's like almost the biggest benefit of doing ayahuasca was like how scary it was because like I did that and then I could be like, okay, like whatever's going on right now is not as scary as that was. And then of course it was like beautiful too. And and yeah, I've done a few things like I did like a silent meditation retreat, but I don't have a very good meditation practice. Um, you know, actually what I've been on lately, which has been really nice, is the artist's way. Like I feel like I try everything because I'm kind of crazy. Like I said, I want to know like all the ways. So the artist way has been really good for me because it's so good to just get all those thoughts out and get them all out on paper. So I highly recommend that to everybody. So yeah, I don't know. It's just um I feel like yeah, I want to I want to come across the way that I want to feel from the world and like I find the world really exciting and beautiful and I want to see more honesty reflected back to me and things like that. So I have to be the way I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Precisely. Amazing.
I really appreciating talking with you like this, Karen. It's been really cool. I feel
It's fun.
like
It's fun, right?
yeah, I was really nervous, but then like I think starting off with a deep question, it just get you right there. Like this is why I like making art is to have these kind of deep conversations. So
Hmm. Well, yeah, like we're coming up on almost an hour. I'm happy to keep going. If you want to circle back anything that we kind of like glossed over, or if you'd like to speak more about, I'd love to give you the chance to.
yeah, let's see. Not that I can. I mean, I'm sure there's more things. There's always more things in life, but yeah. I don't know. Did you have anything in mind?
Uh, we could go back to the mask and just talking about how this life is an illusion, and it's like not what it seems or whatever, really. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, I guess I'm thinking like just because you asked me about ceremony, and I'm thinking back on like my ayahuasca trips, and um, it's kind of adjacent to the mask because I felt I don't know how to say it. I felt like I got to experience in that time what it is like to die, basically, and what it is like to like take off that mask and like step out of this world. And all I can think of is that I really like it here. I really like this planet. I really like talking to you. I really like all this stuff. And like, I just want to remember that as much as I can, like as viscerally as I can all the time. That like we're here and like this is actually like a really incredible place. Like this is where magic happens is like in this life. And so I think we should like try to enjoy it and like make things with it as
And
much as we
cultivate more of that magic, right? Like if we are in any control of this place and we can create more magic,
for
then
sure.
that's what we need to do rather than get sucked into the loneliness and the coldness of the world. And like, cause you can go fully one way or the other.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, I would say it's cultivating magic, but it's also like shedding the things that block the magic out. So being more open to it, like talking to people, I don't know, just like giving things, is so nice. Like you said, this person like gave massages, like paid you to like give massages to their friends. Like that's so cool and so nice. And then it's like it's nice for you because you get to like do these massages and it's nice for them. And like that more of that I think is really important, Like I said, I'm still coming off this Burning Man high, so there's something so cool about like making a piece of art and then like putting it in a place, and then you don't know what that's gonna mean to somebody, or like giving a gift and you don't know, but like I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Well, it's just like doing your art too. Doing your art is a gift to someone that you don't know yet, who maybe sees a print of yours later on down the line at one of their friends' house, and like it was what they needed to see at that moment. And so, yeah, you're doing future gifts by doing your art every day too.
Well, that's cool. Thanks for saying that. Yeah. That's a cool thing to remember for sure. Because it can be really lonely in the studio, I'll tell you. As you probably know, like it's it's solid, but that's where you got to go into the deep and you got to get all the goodies, and then we got to like share it out to the world. So I think that's what we're doing here.
The life is like a flow of contraction and expansion, and coming back home and doing the work, or even switching gears and doing something else. I go through it in my process where I do a lot of portraits and then I burn out on them and I don't do any portraits. And I've been so deep in the AI stuff the past few years that I haven't done many portraits. But when I do come back to the portraits, it's interesting. I've like seen so many images that it's easier for me to do. And it's something has grown in me by not doing it too, and by doing other things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's very important. I think as long as as long as you can have fun, like this week I've taken a little bit break from painting and I've been doing a lot of sewing, and I made like this super weird, I wish I had it with me, it's upstairs, but the super weird doll that is like made out of like real fur and like has these, I don't know, it's just like totally not related to my paintings at all, but it's like, yeah, you got to like keep making art fun for yourself, I think is really good. And then now I'm really excited to go back to painting tomorrow because I kind of had that little break and I've had time to like think about what I'm going to do, you know. But yeah, I want to pick your brain at some future point more about the AI stuff because I don't know. Yeah, like I've been wanting to, which I think a lot of people probably do, like put my style into it and then try to create animations from there. Uh, Have you kind of like messed with it and figured out how to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've played around with making Laura's. So the Laura is like kind of a style reference for it.
Okay, yeah.
And I recently just did one on Midjourney. They don't call it Laura's. It's like a mood board in Midjourney.
Mm.
And so I was able to upload all of my star photography to it, and then, have kind of that backbone to the images I create. And I've been creating some cool stuff. And there's a lot of potential in getting your own personal model and the style that you like and the things you've created, and then be able to start with that, and you're creating, incredibly unique artworks at that state.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, just imagine, in, I don't know, 10 years, full length, like, movie in like exactly like my art style, or, I don't know, or just any, you could do like a whole dialogue of people and they're all like in your portrait painterly style. And like they're all, I don't know, just like seeing that come to life. I think it's gonna be
I did make a model of my portrait. Like this might have been like 2 years ago, or it's been a while, but I
Mm,
made a model based on my portrait work, and I would make like Barack Obama smoking a cigarette, and it would just be perfect, and it looked like I drew it, just like it had kind of the imperfections of my lines in it, and yeah, and then and then I think too, like being able to bring that into animation and use that as a characters, and just with how fast it's progressing, it's pretty much already there. Um, but it kind of always comes back to the main thing is like, what is the story behind your art too? Because
mm,
nowadays anyone can make any kind of art. You're not special for being able to make this. And if you are, someone's going to jack that style.
for
But
sure. Yeah.
what is the message behind it that is really going to become much more important as we're able to do everything with it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think And I think that's where, like, the visionary art could really step up, because if you look at, contemporary art world, I feel like the messaging is kind of whack. Um, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of, like, superficial commerciality, like, whereas I feel like visionary art community has the potential for some, like, real depth, and some real meaning that which I think maybe our society could use, like, some spiritual depth to it, and, so, yeah, I'm thinking maybe that's where the visionary art can really step up and, like, come into a new dimension would be turning the paintings making them even more alive than they already are, and, like, especially, like, being able to capture I mean, talk about, like, having um, a vision, or like having some kind of experience and then being able to like capture that and make that into like a video that, or to take it full all the way, turn it into like a augmented reality experience. So like I could put on these glasses and I'll experience like the trip that you experienced. Yeah. Like how cool. like, so in my ultimate dream, we get to do that, and then at the same time, we take the goggles off, and then we, like, go tend to, like, our actual garden of, like, real vegetables that we eat. So somehow, like,
I
both of
think
those.
like you painted though, this life is just the first goggles maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is just the first yeah. Yeah.
I did a collab recently with Derek Carpenter, fantastic artist. He's got really great work, and went through and animated through all these things, and just was getting this crazy psychedelic animation from the programs, and just made it look way cool. And but then he wanted to do one where I just went through like one painting. And so I started with the full painting, and then I'd crop out different sections of the painting. And so it would animate through the painting, um, just different parts of it, and created this like minute long animation out of it. And I thought it was really cool to kind of explore that and just like go deeper into the one painting that's all his style.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much you could do with that. Especially certain
Hmm.
artists have, yeah, like, super, super complex images, where you have, like, a million little things going on, and then turning those almost like, Harry Potter style into, like, living paintings, where they're kind of changing as you're looking at them. The trick, I think, is often, like people have a real visceral reaction to it. I mean, do you feel this when you, like, share? Like, there's something about it. I mean, people don't like it AI art too, right? Like, because
Right.
there's I mean, obviously, there's also, like, horrible environmental aspects, but I think that's mostly seems like it's because of mismanagement, like, because of people taking shortcuts, they wanna, like I think it's possible to have AI and have it, like, not hurt our planet, but, the
I
fact that it
definitely noticed that, like, yeah, sorry, but just I noticed that people don't like it so much. Most of the AI videos I post get very little likes, like very little engagement. The two that I've done collab with Derek Carpenter and also with Artful, people love those ones. And so I think there is that part of like having real world art behind it too. But that could also just be because they've got a following, and I just don't have a following, and so it could just be
Mm.
the maybe the people that are seeing them. But I do feel that same way about AI, that sometimes it just lacks the realness of it.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it probably is because it's got real stuff behind it because people see, like I mean, maybe like you said, it could be not so much a following, but because, like, people connect to, like, Artful's art, right? So
Hmm.
then now they recognize it, and now they're seeing that painting come to life, so it adds an extra element that is exciting. Whereas if you don't know, like, what the base material is, then it's like there's no emotional connection, um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting world for sure. I really, Yeah, I want to get into it, but I also want to like hone my physical skills um more so than anything right now. I want to really get into becoming that kind of master, maybe in 10 years time that I look up to now. So,
What other art form are you switching between when we're talking about this kind of taking breaks from thing? Are you just all painting, or are you just doing some sewing? What else?
yeah, I'm doing some sewing and painting, but I'm getting into sculpture lately. And again, like really, and Burning Man just like yelled that into me, like, "Hey, like, make something 3D." So yeah, I'm kind of leaning, or I'm slowly worming my way through there. Like I said, I'll get like certain nuggets. I have some sculpture nuggets in my mind right now, but they haven't all coalesced into one thing. Um, because I think like um animation or something, you kind of need to have a story with sculpture. So I'm kind of waiting for that story to show up so I can kind of move forward. But that's yeah, hopefully in the next year or so I'll come out with some sculptural pieces and kind of bring my painterly style to it, you know?
Hmm.
I always love painting. So maybe I'll make something and then I'll paint it kind of thing.
Amazing. Well, Rozzi Dreams, very nice chatting with you. I'd love to have you back on sometime and go deeper into some of these topics that we just kind of glossed on a little bit. But yeah, it was a really fun conversation. I'll put your socials in links to find you in the show notes, but anything you want to close us out with?
Just thank you so much, Kanon. It's been really nice talking with you, and I really appreciated the opportunity. It's been a lovely little conversation, for a Wednesday evening, and yeah, I'd love to do it again. Um, and for the listeners abroad, anything I want to say, just I love you guys, and keep making art, and yeah, life's beautiful. Grow a flower, and that's it.
Thanks, Rozzi.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
It's a time to go back on the tracks, on a journey of healing, to remember our roots, who we are, and our interconnectivity with all of life. From there, we will build a new operating system that honors natural laws and the creative spirit inherent in all. Join me and my artist friends on the Vision Train.
And we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.